Timeout!
Hello and welcome to the first playoff edition of Timeout. There were a bunch of playoff football games last week. Some teams won, some teams lost. Exactly half of the teams won their games, exactly half of the teams lost their games. We're going to start talking about some of those teams who won their games, beginning in Class D1, Chambers Wheeler Central Ewing. They were a big winner, 72-12 win over Palmer. Daniel Leibold in the game, 16 carries for 241 yards and 4 touchdowns. As a team, the Renegades went for 361 yards on the ground on 36 carries, meaning that all they had to do to get a first down was run the football because they were getting at least 10 yards each carry. Creighton was a winner, Howells, Dodge, and West Holt. Plainview, a big winner. They get the upset going on the road to defeat Diller Odell. And Pender proves why you don't play the games on paper. A week after falling to Guardian Angel Central Catholic 64-50, the Pendragons, in a thrilling football game, won 52-50 over Guardian Angel Central Catholic. I almost said basketball game because that's a basketball score. Moving on to Class D2, 5 area teams won there also. North Central was one of those winners. A big win for the Knights, 44-6 over Juanita Palisade. And Charlie Gale for North Central ran for 5 touchdowns, carries at 27-25, 16-7 and 1 yards for Gale to get into the end zone. But North Central wasn't one-dimensional. Jacob Hearton, the quarterback, was 7 of 8 through the air for 170 yards. North Central moving on to face Blue Hill. North Central is actually on the west side of the bracket, the only area team remaining. On the east side of the bracket, Bloomfield, Randolph, St. Francis, and Wynot were all winners. Bloomfield will meet Randolph in the second round in a rematch from the regular season. That game will be in Bloomfield. Randolph needed a late stand to win their first round game over Meridian. It was a 20-16 win. Touchdown passes from Carter Schnorr to Keaton Backus actually got the Cardinals ahead 20-8. But late after a touchdown by Tiber Smith, Meridian had got the ball back, had a chance to win the game late, but a great defensive stand by Randolph that included a pair of sacks and a Carter Schnorr interception inside the 15-yard line sealed the win for Randolph. Talked about the rushing numbers for Chambers Wheeler Central Ewing. Wynot was even more impressive. The Blue Devils ran for 444 yards in their win over Wausau on 63 carries. Lucas Thingstead, 23 carries, 198 yards. Justin Lang, 18 carries for 141 yards. I've talked about Wynot over and over in the season about how that 2 losses on their record might be a little deceptive. You're seeing that now. Wynot will travel to Friend in the second round, which is Wednesday in the D1 and D2 8-man football games. Moving on to those games where they put 11 people on the field on both sides in Class C1 and C2. C1, incredible. There's 8 teams left. 5 of those teams are from the Daily News coverage area. 4 of those teams are actually from the same district. And you might as well say Boone Central Newman Grove was in that district too, because they basically are. So you have Norfolk Catholic, Wayne, Boone Central Newman Grove, West Point, Beamer, and Pierce were all winners. Call the Pierce win an upset if you want, but Pierce, because they were in that tough district, they were prepared to face number 2 unbeaten Fairbury, where they got a 36-32 win to set up a second round game with West Point Beamer. And the Cadets got a huge win, bouncing back from their first loss of the year against Norfolk Catholic to defeat Columbus Lakeview 35-14. And now West Point Beamer, like I said, will play Pierce. Those teams met in the regular season finale. West Point Beamer won by a touchdown in overtime, so expect the second round playoff game, or quarterfinal playoff game, if you will, Friday, which is when all the 11-man games are played, to be a barn burner in Pierce. Boone Central Newman Grove will play a very talented Boys Town team. Wayne, which traveled all the way out to Oregon to face Chadron, this week will play Wahoo, and they don't have to travel at all. They'll play at home. And Norfolk Catholic gets a rematch with the David City Aquinas. Aquinas ended the night season last year, and the team that they began their season against this year, Wahoo Newman, is also the team they beat 20-7 in the first round. Dylan Couts, again, over 100 yards, 36 carries for 169 yards, and it was a big touchdown pass from Nate Brungart to Evan Smith late in the first half that gave Norfolk Catholic a little bit of room, and then they got a couple field goals, Riley Clausen, Peyton Love in the second half, to seal the win. Also playing 11-man football are teams in Class C2. There are 3 of those left, and that's because there were a couple upsets in Class C2. One of the teams that went down was Hartington Cedar Catholic. Cedar Catholic was unbeaten until a regular season finale loss to Ponca. Got the 7th seed in the playoffs. They hosted Central City. Jacob Kaiser for Hartington Cedar Catholic in the first half had 11 carries for 141 yards, limited to 10 yards on 6 carries in the second half, as Cedar Catholic season ends at 8-2 following a 27-26 loss to the Central City Bison. In Battle Creek, the Braves outscored Wilbur Claytonia, the defending state champion, 20-0 in the second half to advance to a rematch with Ponca, which beat Doniphan Trumbull 44-7. Looking back at the regular season, when these two teams met in Battle Creek, Ponca won in overtime. So again, expect another great game in Battle Creek. So if you can make the trip from Battle Creek to Pierce, even though the games are being played at the same time on Friday, you probably can't make that trip. Never mind. I was going to say, if you're looking to watch 2 good football games, those 2 will be good. There will be more good football games. A lot of playoff action. Again, 8-man Wednesday, 11-man Friday. In between Thursday, there's volleyball too. This is just a crazy sports season. We're going to talk about all of it except the volleyball part next week on Timeout.